Read.
Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires.
Now hold on. It says they're going to cry, lift up their voice and cry aloud from the sea. Then verse 15 says, glorify ye the Lord in the fires. In the fires, right? So we're talking about the sea and fires. The sea and fires.
We're going to take this city. We're going to take the kingdom. We're going to rule them hard. This is war. This is war. This is war.
I'm here for the win, well, to get it again. The Lord call it taking the kingdom. Want what's mine? Taking my time, turning and taking your freedom. Risen from the ashes, after the lashes, call it a beautiful tragedy. We've been on the brink of insanity. It's the end of your days, our calamity. Adding in, grab a friend for the finale. Curtain call on a heathen. We want forever and a day. Why would the pastor lie? Say it's your season. Drop a bomb on them, Hiroshima. Drop a bomb on them cause they need it. Scrub it down, planet need a cleaning. Vagabond gone like I'm dreaming. I wanna see the king on the scene. I'm talking when freedom ring. What you mean? It's epic. I recollect. I've been indebted, selected to be a soldier, and I'm vetted. The heavenly calling on all of my brethren. These demons been doing the most. So we holding the post to the heavenly host. Turn these serial killers to cinnamon toast.
Yeah, prophets on the corner, and we came to say today. Scoffers gonna test and we gon'.
All right, shalom, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless. It's your brothers in the islands of Hawaii with another episode of Sands of the Sea. All right, what we do is we come at you a lot of the local news updates, late breaking stuff, things that are happening here in the islands that we can keep you all updated with what's happening here in the islands of Oceania. Us being the islands of Hawaii, we are probably the closest to Babylon the Great of all the islands of Oceania. And we have, all praise to the Most High, have the opportunity to keep everybody abreast of what's happening in the islands. All right. I'm your host, Brother Hezeki, and to my right,
Officer Ethiel.
All right. And we are talking about what today? What are we talking about?
We are talking about the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, which a lot of people don't know what that is. I know they've heard of it. I know they might have heard of it in a movie or a book or something like that. But we're going to talk a little bit about what that is, what it means biblically. And, of course, we're also going to reserve some space to bang on Christianity.
Always. Can't get enough of that.
Right.
Because that is the foundation, I should say the jumping off point, literally jumping off the deep end.
Yep.
For most of our people worldwide. I know the two major religions that our people are wrapped up in, as most of you should know already, is what? Christianity and Islam. All right. Matter of fact, just in case we got any new viewers, let's touch on that real quick so they know what we're talking about. For those that don't know, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites of the Bible. That is also to include the remnants that are scattered here in all the islands of Oceania, from Easter Island all the way to Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, all the islands of Oceania. All right. So a lot of our people don't recognize that Christianity and Islam are already prophesied in the Bible to be a stronghold for our people. So that's why we can't get enough of, like we said, banging on Christianity. But Islam is not too far behind that. It's just that Islam's not so big out here in the islands. The white man has done an excellent job with his missionaries and bringing that Caesar Borgia doctrine out here. For those that don't know, Caesar Borgia is the image of the white image of Jesus Christ that you all know is actually a man by the name of Caesar Borgia. He's the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome, and you can look it up for yourself. Right. But let's get that real quick just to kind of get us started. We said that Christianity has been the jumping off point for a lot of our people of jumping off the deep end, but the Bible said that would happen to the Israelites. And it's happened. That's how we know the Bible is a true book. This is how we know the Bible is a true book. So let's start by banging on Christianity before we go anywhere else. Deuteronomy 28, and let's read verse 48.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which the Lord shall send against thee.
Now remember, these are the prophecies that was slated to happen to the children of Israel for their disobedience to God's laws. All right. God said these things are going to happen. These were the judgments. And we all know the children of Israel were disobedient to God's laws. So these things are in effect to this day. Read.
And hunger.
So we're going to serve our enemies in hunger, our food supply, our food source. Most of the major flow of food, even here in Hawaii, is run by the so-called white man. Now I know that there's certain people that know how to fish for their sustenance and so on, but the vast majority of people in Hawaii have to go to the grocery store just like you would in any city. All right, so we still have to go and rely on our enemies for food. Right, Reed?
And in thirst.
Water. We'll get to it, but we recently celebrated Passover, and one of the waters that we use is, I believe it's called avakea. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's some of that nice natural water from the aquifers. It's pure. You think our people own that? You think our people are getting rich off that? All right. In thirst, we have to rely on our enemies for our water sources, even in our own homes, our own homelands, our own backyards. This is a curse upon the children of Israel. Read.
And in nakedness.
Clothing supply, clothing sources. All right. I don't care what the name brand is. I know a lot of our people get caught up on minor name brands because they have a name on it, like Sean John or what was Jay-Z's Rockaware. When you find out, you start really looking into that stuff, it'd be like 1% ownership. I mean, it's negligible. All right. They're just licensing their name to be used to get all you black people to buy it.
They're trying to get into that market.
That's all it is. Right. Go ahead, read.
And in want of all things.
Anything you want in life, you're going to have to go to another nation of people who God calls your enemies. That covers everything. You want to go to school, you got to go to your enemies. You want food, water, clothing, education. You want to get married, you have to get a license from your enemies. You have a child, you have to get a birth certificate from your enemies. God said this is going to happen to your people. The Chinese man don't have to go to the white man for a birth certificate.
Even when you were talking about earlier about some people know how to fish and stuff like that,
right?
Some of that stuff require a license.
That's right.
And they determine how big the fish got to be.
Yep.
Right? Or else you got to put it back.
Literally with a ruler.
Yeah. So
literally with the ruler.
They determine all of that stuff. So it's not like you could just go, I just fish. Nope. You'll get your behind arrested or fined if you don't got the right size or type of fish.
Absolutely. That's just proof. That's further proof of who's controlling the commerce, the economy, and want of all things, like God said. All right. Watch this, read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
And this same man that you have to rely upon in want of all things, guess what? He's going to have you enslaved. He's going to put a yoke of iron. That yoke of iron is going into an iron collar. All right. An iron collar represents slavery. And all you have to do is Google any images of slaves. The yoke of iron, when they were marching our people, even when they had, I don't know if it was a stick, but you see the line of our people where there'd be a collar and a connecting thing to the next person, and next person, and next person. That's what the Bible's talking about.
That stuff is diabolical because, like, say you fast, right, and the person you chain to is not fast,
right,
or they injured or whatever. That prevents you from getting away too, because y'all yoked together.
Absolutely.
So that stuff is diabolical. There's a lot of thought processes that went into how to chain us and capture us and keep us from escaping.
100%. Read that last part one more time.
Yes, sir. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So this same man that you have to rely upon, and this is the thing that makes it so diabolical too, is that our people are so believing and trusting in Christianity, in the white man's religions and philosophies. But this is the same guy that put a yoke of iron on your neck. Because it said you got to rely on him on all things. He put a yoke of iron on your neck And now you believe his doctrine about your salvation. Right? Let's find out why. Keep reading.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Because we are destroyed as a people. All right? This is all prophesied. This is all prophesied to happen. And when you look across the globe, we are the only people that worship a God that does not look like us. Every race, every nation has a God that looks like them. Yeah. India's got Vishnu, Krishna, Brahma. All right. They're all Indian looking. Elamites, for those that don't know the biblical name. Yeah. The Chinese got Xing Yun. Right? Right? There you go. They got Xing Yun and whatever else you want to go with. They always talk about 5,000 years of history that they can rely upon. And the white man, he took Christianity, but before that, he still even had Odin and Thor and the Norse gods.
He still got them.
Right. That's right. Avengers.
Yeah.
They're still there. All right. And he took your religion. So we are the only race, we are the only people that rely on a God that does not look like us. That's crazy. But that's why the Bible says, God says, you will be destroyed. You will be destroyed. Yeah. So now I can take the yokes of iron off. Mm-hmm. You believe me now. You believe me now. And that word that you use is so appropriate. Diabolical. The things that they did to break us. There's something called buck breaking. Mm-hmm. All right. There was a breaking process. God called it being destroyed. We're just showing you how the Bible is a real book. It's real time. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a storybook. It really happened. And history proves it. So when we say that you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites of the Bible, history proves it out. The prophecy that we're reading about is now our history that we can look upon, and we know. And we only read one verse. We only read one verse. There's 68. From 15 to 68 that we could go through and go down history. But that's not the topic of this episode.
The segue.
But we just wanted to start there. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's the claim that's being made. And we know a lot of you people are still unsure about that. Why these people say that they're the Israelites and the black Hebrew Israelites. And come on. First of all, that's you believing you're the enemy with the yokes of iron that he put on your necks. Mm-hmm. He's telling you that we're not the real Israelites. We're not the real Jews, but history proves him to be a liar every day of the week.
We're so destroyed that if a white man comes up and says, you know, it was hard on us white people too during slavery, mm-hmm. You'll be like, man, I never thought of that. I never thought about how difficult it was for white people during slavery.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You know how hard it was to plant a field? My family was poor. Like, man, I never thought about how hard it was for these white people to plant fields.
And they'll defend them.
Yep.
Against us.
Yep. you know the Irish.
Right.
The Irish
right.
always something. Like, our people so destroyed that they can't in any capacity deal with the fact that we was in slavery, and that's identified in the Bible, and that's why we make the claim, because it's biblical.
It's biblical.
And obvious.
History was the proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
The proof is in the pudding.
Destroyed.
But one of the things that we kind of been discussing, because we talked about Passover coming out here too. Mm-hmm. For those that don't know, Passover is law. It is a commandment for the children of Israel to keep on the 14th day of the 14th day at even of the first month. And for 7 days, you are to observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And us keeping the commandments, right? We observe that feast. Let's get that too, just because there might be some Christians amongst us. We know most of our people that come to the island go to these Christian churches. We know most of our people that are from the islands go to these Christian churches. And they have no clue of what we're talking about. And they think that when Jesus came, we didn't have to do it. So before let's start with Jesus before we get the law. Let's start with Jesus. What is that? Matthew 20.
He was keeping the Passover.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It was Matthew 26.
26. Yes, sir. Verse 17.
Yep.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? So this is New Testament for all you Christians. Christ is being asked to keep the Passover. Why was he being asked where to eat the Passover? Because it was a law that commemorated the Exodus from Egypt. So here we see the disciples asking Christ where to eat the Passover. Now, let's see if Christ said, well, I'm here now. We don't have to do that anymore. Let's find out if that's what he said. Read.
Verse 18. And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master saith, My time is at hand, and I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
Wow. Christ didn't say, no, don't worry about it anymore because I'm here now. That's the end of the law. He didn't say that. He said, go over there and tell them we're going to do it here and we're going to keep the Passover over there. That's what Christ said. For all you Christians, you non-believing Christians that think that you don't have to keep any of the laws in the Bible anymore. No, Christ kept the Passover. Christ kept the Passover. All right. It's important to understand that. And if you are a follower of Christ, which is what they all say, right? You're going to do the things what would Jesus do? Jesus would keep the Passover. That's what Jesus would do. He would keep the Passover. All right. So, just wanted to show you that. Now, we talked about bringing the Passover to Hawaii. We had some leadership come out. All right. We had a good time, but more than just having a good time, because feast days are always a good time.
Yeah.
But more than just having a good time, we got a chance to really get a lot of work done on the island, working in the community, which is big because a lot of times people wonder, like, what do we do outside of reading the Bible? But we actually are in the community, doing things in the community. We had, of course, we had camp, right? Camp means we go out and teach, right? We went to the projects and we did a community cleanup, right? That's picking up trash, all right?
Wait, projects in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's some people out there that think that, that don't exist here. It's just a beach. It's just one big beach.
No. There's some trash. There's some trash. There's homeless. There's projects. It exists even in paradise.
Yep.
Even in paradise. Someone's always at the bottom of the totem pole. Always, no matter where you go. All right. And as the children of Israel would be scattered amongst these nations, that's where you often find our people. All right. That's where you often find our people scattered and at the bottom of the barrel, scattered and in the worst housing, the worst schooling, the over policed and all those sorts of things that are in all the places where we dwell. All right. These are all curses that fall upon the children of Israel. So, being the prophets and knowing that we are going to find, search, seek out the children of Israel that are scattered all over, we did that. We did a community cleanup in the projects. Missing persons. Campaign. I don't know the correct word for it, but putting up some missing people. We have missing people out here in the islands too. You would be surprised how people go missing. Now, a lot of times, just to be transparent, we do find many times, I shouldn't say all the time, but many times we do find that it's like children that have run away, and they're usually found later. But still, it's an area that needs to be highlighted because it is something that happens in the islands. All right. And guess what? We are hitting all these different areas. We're hitting all these different areas. You got anything on that? What was your experience like?
I was talking about the missing persons real quick because we did an episode where a child was abused and eventually killed, and she had ran away before.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So even though a lot of times these kids run away, it doesn't take away the importance of doing things like a missing persons mission.
Absolutely.
You know, so there's not a lot of places to go on the island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are cases where kids are missing. You know what I mean? But a lot of times these are runaways running from domestic violence and stuff like that. That's pretty rampant out here. It's pretty rampant.
Absolutely.
So and we did an episode on that. So, you know, we are covering down on that stuff. But as far as Passover goes, I always have a blast on Passover. Being with the brethren, doing the work, expanding the playing field in which we normally are on. That's all things that, you know, that lift my spirits. So it's always a great experience to do that.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, Passover is a time where a lot of times growth happens.
Mm-hmm.
Growth happens spiritually. Growth happens, whether it be in the brotherhood, the levels of understanding get increased. A lot of times, more spirits come into the body during Passover. Yeah, we'll lose some, but also more spirits will come into the body. And a lot of times these happens around Passover. Usually 2 main times a year. We always talk about it, Passover and Feast of Tabernacles. But right now, you know, speaking on Passover, that's kind of a good segue as far as talking about some of the expanded understanding that came out, the more clarity that came out when with regards to the children of Israel being scattered in the islands. I know for a long time we have primarily focused on the Japhite aspect of the island diaspora. I'll say that word. Or the island migration routes, expansion, all those sorts of things. So that's a lot of times where we have focused our discussions, our teachings, because a lot of Japheth is out here.
Yeah.
All right. However, we believe in the scriptures and we know what the scriptures are saying. And the scriptures do let us know that there will be a remnant of Israel in the islands of the sea. Specifically, Oceania. Specifically. So there's a lot of history. More stuff is going to come out. Trust me, through time. Be patient with us. But just know, we know that a lot of the indigenous peoples of these islands are Israel. They are Israel. All right. Now, again, a lot of mixing came. We understand that. We are not dismissing that. But a lot of the indigenous people are Israel. All right. And not only on the indigenous side, but throughout the centuries, a lot of other tribes have ventured into these islands, being brought and scattered through trade, commerce, escaping slavery, general migration, all that stuff. In our first camp, right, when brothers came out, leadership came out, you would think, right, they would, be teaching. A lot of people have in their mind that they're going to teach one tribe specifically because we're in Hawaii. So everybody's going to be this one tribe. Like, no, there was Judah there. There was Ephraim there. There was Issachar there. There was probably Naphtali there. There was, brother said he might have been Benjamin there. Yeah. That's 5 tribes in one camp, right? So that should be really what people understand about the islands of Hawaii, because that's where we live. We can't speak for all the islands, but specifically for Hawaii, you will find multiple tribes scattered through here. It's not just one, right? It's not just one. It's not even just primarily one. There's a segment of a solid segment of a lot of the tribes here, a majority of the tribes here in Hawaii. All right, whether you all the way down from Waianae to Kailua, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You'll find a lot of our people scattered in. What are you gonna say?
That's how we we learned before how to pronounce Uruguay. It's Uruguay because a brother from Uruguay corrected us. He was like, "It's Uruguay," and I was like, "Uruguay." He was like, "Yeah, I'm from Uruguay."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So they be out here.
Yeah, is that Zebulon?
No, that's that. See, that's Asher.
Oh, okay,
Asher.
Okay, all right.
So because and that's another thing, learning the map out here because say like when you on the mainland, you're not gonna come across somebody from Uruguay too often.
Right.
But here you gotta learn the map.
Yeah.
Like we be like, he was like, where the hell is El Salvador? You
Right.
think everything is Central America. You think
Yeah.
everything is Central America.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got Bolivia, Peru, all those type of things. You know what I mean? Like, you really learn the map out here because everybody is here.
Absolutely.
Everybody's
Absolutely. That's one of the things about Hawaii is that it is Babylon the Great as far as a melting pot.
Yeah.
And the cultures that have melted here are heavily Asian influenced, but at the same time, it's also melted in with a lot of the Israelite tribes that have come here because it is a predominantly brown place. It's an easier place to blend in.
Yes.
Just like during the biblical times, where do we always flee to? Egypt.
Yeah.
Why? Because it was an easier place to blend in. All right. And not have things so rough, so to speak, because the curses would follow us no matter where we went anyway. But it's a little bit different when you look like everybody in the land.
Yeah.
Right. And you see that often, especially here, especially Northern Kingdom, Issachar, Ephraim. A lot of times you can't tell the difference between them and say Japheth, anybody.
Especially when they start getting the tattoos.
100%.
You know, they always get the tattoos.
100%.
You know, and they really try their best to blend in. Don't let them start speaking the pigeon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Throwing up the shaka.
Yep.
And so, but one of the things that's starting to come out more and more is that a lot of those people are Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that we even thought were Japheth before, they're Israel as well. And so it's high time for this to come out, which, like I said, is going to come out more and more. So we really want to touch on these scriptures for everybody to kind of get to understand what it is that we're talking about and why it is that we're saying what we're saying. Scriptures say prove all things. Just like we prove that we're the children of Israel, we can also prove that the children of Israel be in the islands of Oceania. Watch. What do you say? Like to see it? Here it go. How did I say it wrong? Got it.
I
Anyway.
don't know, that must be a South thing. I don't know.
Do. What? Y'all know what I'm talking
All right, no. Let's take some time because y'all always be
Y'all know
saying
what I'm
I'll
talking
be
about?
trying to get y'all to
You know what I'm talking about? Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thou shalt not lie.
No, he know what I'm talking about. That's a thing. That's a thing. I forgot where it's from.
I don't know what note
In Living
he was
Color?
just hitting right now.
In Living Color. Yes. All praises. You all right, brother. You see how he trying to do
These brothers
me?
is in the spirit of
Yes,
the
yes,
song,
his
'cause
brother over here.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Don't worry about it. Y'all too young.
I guess. I know a Living Color. I don't know that beat you made.
But yeah, let's get some scriptures on it. Let's just kind of touch on what we touch on. These are some of the things that came out of Passover. We kind of recapping Passover and some of the experiences that we have. And this is definitely a major portion of that is just getting the clarity on some of these scriptures that have come out. All right. Let's read Isaiah. All right. So let's get Isaiah, the 24th chapter. Again, we're just going to prove. We're going to prove, and we're going to be proven over time as we talk more and more, because we are a podcast that is based on the children of Israel being the sands of the sea. All right. So let's, of course, it's talking about multitude, but also our people are scattered like in the seas. So let's talk about it. Let's get Isaiah chapter 24, and let's start at verse 14.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 14. They shall lift up their voice. They shall sing for the majesty of the Lord. They shall cry aloud from the sea.
They shall cry aloud from the sea. From the sea. They shall cry aloud from the sea. All right. Who's this talking about? It's talking about the children of Israel. Read.
Wherefore, glorify ye the Lord in the fires.
Now, hold on. It says they're going to cry, lift up their voice and cry aloud from the sea. Then verse 15 says, glorify ye the Lord in the fires. In the fires, right? So we're talking about the sea and fires. The sea and fires. Okay? For those of you that do not know, there is an active volcano. One of the most active volcanoes on the planet is here in Hawaii.
Episode 45 and the ongoing Kilauea summit eruption began early Thursday morning. The USGS volcano alert level remains at watch and the aviation color code is at orange. North vent fountains reach 1,000 feet high, or 300 meters, just before 3 a.m. There has been minimal lava activity at the south vent. Early Thursday morning, the Hawaii County Civil Defense...
I think it just had an eruption like a little while ago.
I would believe it. It's literally always erupting. It's one of the most active volcanoes on the planet, and that's here in Hawaii. And what this region of Oceania is called, and hopefully we can post an image once we do this post production, is something called the Ring of Fire. And literally, the Ring of Fire is what separates the Eastern Hemisphere from the Western Hemisphere. It literally lines the continents. It lines the continents all the way north, from North America down to Chile in South America. And it goes all the way across through Japan down through Australia. All right. So we are literally smack dab in the sea in the fires. It's called the Ring of Fire. All right. And so you've got thousands of islands out here. A lot of people, they don't know that as well because they're only familiar with the main ones, the Fijis and the New Zealands and the Hawaiis, and there's a lot more.
The area that consists of the Pacific, as you know it, is 1/5 of the entire Earth.
Yes.
It's 20% of the whole Earth is where the Ring of Fire is.
Absolutely.
So it's a huge platform to scale.
Yeah.
It's not just Hawaii out here.
So it's bigger than the continental U.S.
Yes, significantly.
Yes,
significantly.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's a very important point because a lot of times, most people, when that's never been to islands, they think like it's all just you just take a boat here.
Yeah. They're gonna take a ferry from L.A.
Yeah.
And then just go to Hawaii real quick.
Nope. You have to remember, Hawaii is the most isolated region on Earth. The most isolated region on Earth, right? It's a 5-hour flight from California here. All right. I think it's like 5.5 from LA to New York. So just to give you some perspective, it's the same amount of distance just about from LA to Hawaii as it is from LA to New York. All right. That's where we're at. And there's only water around us. That's where we're at.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.